My job as chief evangelist is to be the tip of the spear of that point of view narrative around how AI can benefit property management. The problem is huge in maintenance, and AI is this like new super tool. So of course, why not go tackle the biggest problem that wasn't previously tackleable before with
Yep.
AI?
Matt Speer, founder of propertymanagement.com, here with special guest today. We got Pablo Gonzalez from Vendoroo.
Dr. Pablo Gonzalez.
Oh yeah, I mean, do you even have the? We're gonna do like
No, we can definitely do a thing,
little checkup,
a whole thing. Let me see.
get a pulse on the industry here.
Yeah,
I think the metaphors are strong. Well, Pablo, I think a lot of people know you, seen Vendoroo around. I guess first of all, have you been to New Orleans before?
I love New Orleans. Yeah, I've been to New Orleans a handful of times. I'm a really big fan of. There isn't a lot of American cities that have a unique character that's immediately identifiable wherever you are in the city and super tangible. New Orleans is one of them, and New Orleans is one of them that's one of the smaller cities that have that effect. As somebody that grew up in Miami, I have like a kinship with New Orleans of like, you're a very unique American city.
Yeah.
There's maybe like six of them. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's like one of a kind.
Yeah, I love it here.
It's like the balance of like incredible food with the jazz, Bourbon Street, the smells.
It smells so European, doesn't it?
It smells. That's a very it's European. Right?
I feel like I know it's French and French architecture, but it feels a lot like Amsterdam. Like Amsterdam smells like this, has a similar scale, has a kind of like party vibe, and has a lot of musicality on the streets as well, which is my favorite part of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're in like kind of a downtown area in what looks like a commercial warehouse, and then it's like I don't know. Even just the real estate here is different. Like I'm in Indianapolis, very traditional Midwestern downtowns. Yeah, I haven't been, so I've been enjoying it.
Cool.
What's been your favorite like broker owner? I guess conference in general, but I feel like this has been a cool broker owner spot. You've been to a few.
The moment that they said that this is going to be in New Orleans, like I'm a conference guy, right? Like New Orleans is my favorite conference city, right? Because it's
a karaoke city too.
It's number one. It's got the best karaoke bar around, right? Like Nashville and Austin, also really good karaoke cities, which we have events at. But just in reality, what we're talking about, the European scale, the walkability of it, and the fact that like the event is always close to really good restaurants, really good walk to entertainment stuff.
Right.
It just really sets up really nicely in the city.
Yeah. I mean, we went to the what's the dome? The football stadium? Superdome.
Yeah.
I mean, we walked from here. Everything we haven't got into a Uber yet. We also have a van, so I guess we had to drive the van one time. But
favorite broker owner though, I would say, like tough call, right? Like I would say Colorado last year was probably a peak moment in my career.
Yeah.
Right. Like that was really a moment where I felt as valuable as I've ever felt to a marketplace. So that was really awesome.
The Broadmoor was legit.
The Broadmoor was super cool. And then the one before that was like my entrance to the property management space where I got to keynote broker owner, and I kind of like, if that didn't happen, I wasn't here. So this is only really my third.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, talk a little bit. I think a lot of property managers sort of find themselves somehow, they just like all of a sudden are like, wow, I'm a property manager. How'd that happen to me? Dylan Scroggins always says, hey, when you're a little kid, you ask, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Some people say doctor. They don't say property manager. Obviously you're in the technology scene and the property management industry, but how do you get into this space?
Matt, if I told you, if you would have told me 5 years ago, much less 10 years ago, that I'd be doing what I'm doing right now, I would have said you're smoking crack. Right. My career, man, I had a 15-year career in the construction industry. My first business, like Fortune 500, graduate from UF in this like management training program. They're like a roll up at like 24. I was running a $15 million P&L, running Orange County operations for this like Fortune 500 company. Didn't know anything I was doing, right? Like could not watch The Office because I felt so like I was Michael Scott that I couldn't watch it. Really?
So it was you were running a division of a construction company?
A division of a construction company. Like I had 120 employees. I had like 6 different product lines of subcontracting, right? Like insulation, gutters, weather stripping, fireplaces, stuff like that during the housing boom, right? Like track home builders were my clients. That got me into green building. And I moved back to Miami, started a green building consulting company. 2 years later, I got acquired by my biggest client, went in-house as director of sustainability for a hospital builder. And something really happened to me at that moment. This was 11 years ago. My brother passes away after a 2-year battle with pancreatic cancer. 1,200 people show up to his funeral. And I have this like out of body experience about the value of community.
Mm.
and how this, nothing could have gotten us through this. And like, I could never leave something like this. And that's a business outcome, right? Because ever since I'm like 14, I've had my talk to a priest moments with the Catholic
Right,
Church and talk to my
right.
mom about how and at that moment I was like, I could never leave this, no matter what it is, no matter how I feel about the institution, I can never leave this. This just solved for the most epic churn case of all time. And from that moment on, I've chased this thesis of community creation for business development. And what that looked like was I started, I was part of these nonprofit groups. I started getting like really heady around how you bring people together to create value and win-win moments. Gary Vee came into my life 2017. I realized if you
Mm.
layer content into that piece, it's scalable. I used those things to become a business developer in the construction industry. Then I joined this like startup in Jacksonville, like an e-commerce startup, jumped into like a dumpster fire, turned that around in a year, and then decided to start my own business doing these ideologies. Like early 2019, it's a boutique marketing agency called Be the Stage. And by the end of 2019, I met the JWB Real Estate Capital guys. And that's kind of like my coming into this industry. We started this community January 2020. By the end of 2020, it was a $40 million acquisition channel for them. And that over time, I built my business out of the back of that, right? I took it in the teeth for like 3 years trying to become an entrepreneur, but eventually built this business. And that story from JWB got featured on like multiple books. Like it's on like the new edition of the Ultimate
Yeah.
Sales Machine and stuff like that.
Wow. And so
And
was JWB, for people don't know, was it, what type of real estate were they?
yeah, super interesting business. They're a fully vertically integrated turnkey rental property investment company. So they invented build to rent in like 2014.
Yeah.
And they were doing it in infill, and they still
Was
are.
it mostly build to rent, or were they
No,
doing some deal
both.
sourcing too?
It's both.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
both. Everything from land banking to new construction and infill lots to buying and burring, but then
Right, right.
turning it into a turnkey property for people. And when I started with them, they had part of their vertical integration was like a 2,200 door property management company. Now they're at 6,000 doors. They're also developing 20 city blocks of downtown Jacksonville.
Wow.
Like their city building in
Like
Jacksonville
right now. Yeah.
right now, because they know that if they turn downtown on, then the 6,000 doors that they manage around the urban core all appreciate, and they own 400 of them and
Yeah.
their clients.
Control your own destiny.
Yeah, I own 5 of
So-
those. And so I became
Hey,
a
can
real
I get in on that? No.
yeah, 100%, man. I think it's a really good investment right now, to be perfectly honest. I'm happy to sell you Jacksonville properties. I still host that, right? I'm like, we have like an annual event that we've been doing for 5 years. It's like a 120 person event. I'm the
Yep.
mascot of that community, right? Like
Yep.
I'm that chief evangelist too. And because of that, Tracy Strike, when he was putting together Broker Owner in 2024, I think he reached out to Jordan Muella and said, who was people that nobody's heard of in the space that should be a keynote thing? And Jordan
Yep.
recommended me.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then that brought me into this industry, man.
And that was sort of the lightning strike moment for Vendoroo.
No, the lightning strike moment for Vendoroo was the next Broker Owner. That
The
was a
next
lightning
Broker
strike
Owner.
moment for me, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm a
Like
big,
you're now on the scene, right? Now,
yeah, I'm on the scene. I knew I
little
was
lightning spark, it's like for you, not the
100%, 100%. Well, so what happened was I very much believe in the value of a stage and like the social credibility that adds, right? So ahead of Broker Owner, I started trying to run LinkedIn ads of me like talking about my ideas to people that are going to see me at Broker Owner, because I wanted people to like walk in and be like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy on TV.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I did some of that, and then I did some of that post, right? But like all I could target was there was like a NARPM group. Like I didn't really know how to run LinkedIn ads that well.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just like, what do I target? There was like a NARPM group. I didn't understand the property management industry that well. I was like, all right, but I can also target everybody that's a sponsor there. I can target that as well. So I was running these ads at that point, and July 2024, I got like an inbound DM from Reza, the founder of Vendoroo. And he's like, hey man, I've been doing this a long time. I don't know anybody that's doing what you do in our space.
Dude, that's so cool. What do people say now? It's like, you can just do things, like you can just do things.
100%.
And that was, you're just doing things. And it's crazy how that action creates those moments.
100%, man. I had early 2019 when I left that e-commerce startup, I took a 90-day purposeful pause, like just 90 days to think about my future and reverse engineer. And my mission became my North Star that I have stuck to since is I want to be the person that proves community creation for business development as like the most viable, enduring business development technique. Yep. If you would have, and at that point, man, I was just like, I just want to go to a bunch of conferences. I just want to meet people. To me, I was like, I want to network. I'm a super extrovert. And if you would have told me at that point that 6 years later, I'd be riding shotgun on the Mortal Kombat tournament for Silicon Valley AI supremacy, I would have said you're insane, right? Like, or that I had published a book, or that I had, like all these different things have happened in my life now at this point that I've never been in the tech industry. I've never, right? Like, I don't come from this world natively, but my value has always been as someone that grew up in like 3 different continents before I was like 10. It's always been the ability to like cross contextualize, see the world from someone else's eyes and make the connection of what's in it for you for this future that we both want to share that is a better vision than the past.
Yeah. And so your title,
Chief Evangelist.
yes, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's chief evangelist.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I mean, I think some context clues in here just about how you're thinking about life and the business. And
yeah. As I developed this thesis of community creation, right? I realized that there's kind of like a holy triumvirate of community creation, right? It's the community. A community congeals under a shared vision, shared purpose, right? Like just this insight happened to me at church, right?
Yep.
Community creation for business development is the business of religious institutions, right? Like there is a gospel of like a better way than the past. There is a kind of like a stage where rituals happen that you share common language and you kind of like go through similar things together, shared experiences, develop common language. And there's generally somebody that is that Pied Piper of the message, right? So in secular evangelism, that's a point of view, right? And a point of view when the world is changing, there's this concept, right? Like everything is the way it is because somebody made it that way from the way that it was. Those people, if you look across it, there's generally someone out there that has a narrative around this is what the world looks like today. These are the problems with it that are affecting us. This is how the world is changing. And because of that change, these problems are going to get worse like this, or because of that change, we can now attack that old problem in a way that not only stops this change, but makes a better future without the original problem.
Right.
And this is what the future looks like. That's a point of view narrative. My job as chief evangelist is to be the tip of the spear of that point of view narrative around how AI can benefit property management. And, what does that mean? That means that I need to live and be friends with as many property managers as I can. I need to be able to connect dots for them. And I need to be able to like understand how they are describing their world and their problems and figure out, like he who understands the problem the best will understand that will have the best solution, right? So like AI is super cool,
right?
But if it's not about solving your problem, then it's just like a nice to have, right? Like what are the things that this can really be, and what does that future look like?
I want to talk about in a moment. I want to talk about how the tip of the spear. What new problems can be solved in different ways, just using sort of your philosophy there. Yeah. But maybe before then, like what's the state of Vendoroo today? And maybe even and really honestly, the maintenance category, right? I feel like the maintenance category is the hottest, most competitive category. In this industry right now.
Yeah, I think the maintenance category is, and I'll get real. You said you wanted like vulnerability, right?
Yeah, I want to like really give it to us straight here.
Yeah, straight up. So we talk about the problem, right? The maintenance has been the problem that is unsolvable for a long time. Like you want to talk about the world as it is today, and the ambulatory nature of it, and the thing that like is the thing that will trip me up on my way to growth.
I mean, I've still got like PTSD on when running my property management business. Like I could list 50 examples of shit that I still think about because it was just so difficult.
Yeah, and the intensity of maintenance is the problem. Right? Like it's like what we've realized, what Rue has shown us now after like these like 500, well, you want to talk about the state of it today, right? Like, so the problem is huge in maintenance and AI is this like new super tool. So of course, why not go tackle the biggest problem that wasn't previously tackleable before with AI, right? That's why I think maintenance is such a big prize, because it hasn't been able to be solved in the software era. And now with AI, it really does. With agentic AI in particular, it really has a chance to completely transform what that role looks like in a way that is beneficial to the human, not just like the business owner, right? Like, these maintenance jobs are burning people out. There's like a 75%, 80% churn rate in the industry of people within 5 years. you know, like
in like the maintenance coordinator type role or
in property management,
okay.
right? Like that's the statistic. Within 5 years, like somewhere around 80% of people like leave property management that started in property management. And it's because of the intensity of the stuff is just keeping your phone on at all times and not being able to like have an evening off without having to like look at it, right? Like how many people how many property managers have you talked to? Like, oh dude, I haven't turned my phone off when I sleep for 12 years, right? And that's because of maintenance. That's not because of leasing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
You know? So I think that's why it's so hot. The state of Vendoroo, man, is right. Last year, as the team that came in and really decided to say, hey, we want to own the outcome on maintenance. Like we don't want to just like incrementally make this maintenance thing better. We want to go full agentic. How do we transform what maintenance feels like? I believe we were the first ones really doing that, right? And in order to do that, the last kind of 2 years have been really around building belief in it and you know, showing the receipts enough to like build belief coming from us until as categories grow, which is this like agentic maintenance category, right? Until enough other people come into the space to validate the whole category. And right now we're there, right? Like we were the only ones kind of like talking that way for a while. Then the platforms that were releasing AI within their platform, right? Like I think before agentic AI, everybody was building cars, right? And then the people that built cars built some like cruise control and then now some autonomous driving.
Yeah.
We were building drivers from
and that's just happening faster than I think a lot of people anticipated. Yeah. I mean,
sure.
Some people anticipated it, but
sure.
It's like, what's that? You know, it's like we're talking about AGI in the future. It's like, you know,
yeah.
And it's sort of moved forward. And so
well, let me land that point, right? So it was like cars with autonomous driving. We were building drivers from the ground up. So there was nobody like us. Now there's 5 or 6 that are building drivers from the ground up. 5 or 6 native agentic companies that are doing that as well. And now there's the DIY version of that too, right? OpenClaw, and you can do it yourself and whatever, right? So now it's no longer about building belief in the category. The belief is there. Now it's about establishing what the dominant design should be. Like what is the point of view of, hey, now that we know that this is totally possible, and now that we know there's many ways to do it, what's the best way to do it for people that guarantees the outcome that people want? And I think what the outcome people want right now is certainty. How do I do this AI thing where it really actually delivers this outcome? It isn't this like over promise, under deliver thing. Like I feel like I'm not burning a favor with my team by doing this and failing one more time.
What would you say outcomes interesting in maintenance, right? To me, maintenance is a little bit more complex than, let's say, leasing. Leasing is like, did it binary? Is it, you know, we sign a lease or do we not sign a lease? Then, you know, you've got application, you know, or, you know, even just a tour was scheduled. Yes, no, right? In maintenance, it's, you know, you starts with triage, you know, response rate triage into which vendor to assign, what should the cost be. There's so many variables. And so like when you think about agentic kind of workflows, automations within the maintenance process, like what is the outcome that's success? Is it for the property manager? Do you think that they want just sort of the, hey, fully run this thing, self-driving car? Or is it like a Tesla, you know, you're sitting in the car and you can kind of take control? What's that look like?
I believe that the outcome that property management business owners want is to feel like the maintenance is being done the way that they would have done it without them doing it themselves. What does that look like in statistics? 99.9% vendor accuracy, right? Like that is something being achieved right now via agentic AI. Close to 10% of work orders being troubleshot away without a vendor showing up. It's 98% autonomous decisions are outcomes that we're seeing, right? Like if each work order has somewhere around like 19 to 26 decision points, 98% of those are being automated, which essentially means like 1 out of every 2 work orders, you have something that like you got to go get involved in instead of in every work order having 10 things to get involved
in. What was
in.
that number?
98% autonomous decisions, 94% resident satisfaction. When the AI is owning the intake and the coordination and all the communications, you can now measure resident satisfaction based on sentiment and based on how that conversation goes across everything. So before people didn't even know
that's sort of the scorecard.
It's the scorecard. 0.04% error rate. We have.
How do you define error rate?
Did the right vendor go out for the right issue and it was resolved the first time or not? right? We have
so that starts right at the beginning.
That starts at the beginning. You got to triage it correctly. You got to diagnose it correctly. You got to prescribe it correctly. You got to send the right.
You can't send a handyman when it's the electrician.
100%.
Although some people would prefer a handyman with a lot of electrical, right? That's nuanced.
If you're going to run it like you want to run it yourself, you have to be able to have that option as well,
Unless
right?
you want to get fired by your client. It's like, I started as an investor, and the worst, man, it was even I'll be transparent. Like running my own property management business, I would run our properties through the same workflows.
Yep.
And it was sort of the thing we said on sales calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like new client, hey, I've got properties. We run the same system. I don't step in and intervene. But man, it's pretty humbling when you get the invoice from your own company to, $1,200 electrical update you felt like could have been done for $180 or something, right? Yeah. It's like I wanted to fire myself at that point.
Yeah.
Right. And so the stakes are high.
The stakes with maintenance, the stakes are higher than anything else. Right? Because you have 3 stakeholders that are very critical to your business. Your renter, your owner, and your vendor are all critical to your business, and you have the ability to piss all 3 of them off. Right. And that's where Google reviews come from, right? So when I say 0.04% vendor, like accuracy, we have a guarantee that we own the outcome. If we send the wrong person, if Vendoroo makes like on a workflow, sends the wrong person, and there is a cost differential between what could have happened and what did happen, we will cover the difference.
Wow.
And we have a 0.04% error rate on that. Like we've spent something.
I think I need to see some LinkedIn ads on that. That's a pretty. I haven't heard that. The guarantee is.
It's pretty awesome, man. Like it's something like we've spent around like it's somewhere. The number is something like. It's something in the hundreds of millions of dollars, in over $100 million in maintenance spend, and about like $27,000 in like in error reimbursement costs.
Wow. Okay.
Right. It's massive. And the last outcome I would say is 24/7 coverage, the way that you would be able to cover it at 1 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, right? Like that is an outcome that is absolutely necessary in order to guarantee the resident experience and the owners are doing well as well. Those are the outcomes that we have found are the new standard for a well done, highly automated agentic deployment and maintenance.
Let's shift gears a little bit. So let's say you're listening to this, you're watching this, and you're not a Vendoroo customer. There's gonna be a lot of Vendoroo customers that are gonna watch this, want to see kind of updates. But let's say you're thinking about maintenance. Maybe even you're thinking about vibe coding your own thing, right? And you're sort of just trying to understand what's your next move.
Mm-hmm.
What does, if they were considering Vendoroo, like what does that onboarding process look like from like, let's start at data, connectivity to the rest of their system. How do they implement it? And then is it, I feel like if you're used to driving your own car and then I just like come to your house and drop off a fully autonomous car, it doesn't have a steering wheel. You're like, that could be the future. So it's like, and then you're just like, hey, get in. You'd be like, I'm a little uncomfortable, but so what's that process look like? Kind of in the
for sure, man. Listen, this to us is the way that like we've seen people have needed to like go through this, right? The process, I guess you're just asking me our onboarding process. I'm happy to answer that, but I'm like allergic to trying to sell on a podcast and I don't want to go down that path.
No,
I can describe
I don't think it's less selling. Like it's more so just, I think it's like, because maintenance, other than your core property management software, like an Appfolio, Rentvine, Building, maintenance is the one where it's like you've got a train moving down the tracks, right? So the switching, it's like people are realizing that these like agentic workflows automations are starting to become very important.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're running some kind of old school system right now, you're like, what is it? It's less about selling Vendoroo. It's more about what's that process.
I got you. Yeah. I just want to throw it out there. I'm not trying to do
I'm like the anti-sales on the pod guy. So
I would just tell you the first thing that you need to think about when it comes to maintenance is like I think most people think about maintenance at the execution layer. But maintenance has a context layer, decision layer, execution layer. Right? So you want to think really deeply on kind of like how are you able to like really embed context into your decision making to guide the execution.
That's right.
Less so of like what the actual execution is and more like how do I empower something to make this like if you're onboarding a person, right? Like you can say like learn this workflow step by step, or you can say, hey man, these are the types of things that you need to consider when you are making a really, really good decision that then decides what
Yeah.
the workflow
Well,
goes,
I
right?
think of it as like to me, context is like the knowledge base. It's like,
Mhm.
what does your company do? What does it not do? You know, and some companies might handle certain situations differently,
Yeah,
right? Like,
but context, if you think about running your business and you're hiring a maintenance coordinator, context is like you hiring Jenny and sitting Jenny down and saying, hey, listen, these are the 3 handymen that we use. Sergio, he's amazing from 9 to 5. The dude is super capable. He'll show up. He'll fix just about anything. But if you call him like at 5,
mm,
he runs a soccer league with his kids. He's going to take a while. So that's not your guy. He's our number 1 guy, 9 to 5 in general. Jenny is when there's an emergency, she's the quickest to respond. So like if you think it's something that like really needs to get done and maybe Sergio's available, you might want to ping Jenny first because she might just get there and she can handle like really basic stuff and has like a really good
yep,
bedside manner. It can de-escalate things if someone's heated. So use Jenny. And then there's Bob over here. Bob, he's a single guy that like is up all night. So he's great after hours.
yep.
But like in the mornings, he's a little bit rough because he's late. So so like whatever, right? So
So that's like that's just raw. It's like if you're training a person, that'd
it's
be what you tell them.
telling a person the way that you make decisions based on like your vendor network and your customer base and these different things, right? So
What about the data and the rest of the picture, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, a property's occupancy or
hmm
lack of occupancy
hmm
or leasing history,
yeah,
completely
100%,
unrelated from maintenance, but it's
yeah,
completely related to the context because that is sort of a lens into the owner's perception of value, right?
100%,
If you're not leasing the property well and you fucked up a renewal or something,
yeah,
like, and then you're like, hey, here's an email for a $5,500 AC replacement. Like,
hmm
that's bedside manner,
that's bedside
Dr.
manner.
Rue.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, 100%. That like the work order history and the property history and the customer history are a really big piece of this thing, right? So you have to be able to, something that we've realized is like edge cases are the game here, right? Like if 98% of decisions are being automated, it's really about those moments where it's like, oh, you know what? This property has had this vendor come out there twice. So if we're going to do this, like we need to think outside of just like the regular workflow of doing that. Like, are we sending this person back out there? Is it a warranty issue? Is this something we really want to build the owner or do we want to get involved here? Like the AI has to have the ability to raise his hand and say, hey, normally this is what we would be doing, but this is telling me that like we should be able to like step out of the workflow and ask ourselves a question here,
Yeah.
right? So like how you do that is the game, right? It's essentially really intelligent escalation architecture.
Mm.
So what we've realized, right? Because I don't know how much you know our history, but we knew that in order to create the transformation, we had to own the outcome first, right? And you couldn't own the outcome by like building top-down AI and like slicing off little pieces of what you could do. We built essentially a maintenance outsourced VA company to be able to deliver on owning the outcome while leveraging like a nation that was informing them and they were training it. And more importantly, if you're going to have an agent that's going to operate the way an employee operates, it's essentially going to operate one-to-one with a VA that you're going to manage remotely.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
so it was training us on how like how you need to build a system to give it feedback like a person. Over time, the AI got good enough to start making the decisions while that human layer was still executing the actions. Over time, the AI, this was by broker owner of last year, like was the moment where the AI really turned on and was running the show. And at that point, we had a decision to make. We said, man, we got this team of like 40, 50 expert maintenance coordinators that are also experts in AI. Now that the AI is doing their job, we could let them go, or we could place them in the roles that only humans can provide that can create outsized value to your clients, which at the end of the day is what everybody's going to go through. You're going to have
Yep.
an opportunity to automate towards people or away from people.
And,
So,
and,
so
and,
were we?
s- and so
Yeah,
what I think that's a tough question, right?
yeah.
So I think there's a couple routes. So let's say there's 100 remote team members,
hmm
VAs, remote team members. Do all 100 keep their job in that transition, or is it 20 get elevated into this much better, more responsibility,
Yeah,
more of that,
yeah.
you said intelligent execution architecture, like
Escalation architecture. Yeah, yeah.
architecture, like, do they get more involved in that, or is it
Yeah.
like all 100 have a seat?
That depends on your business. For our business, we realized that the big thing that these people could all fill is onboarding, edge cases, and ongoing coaching, right? So
Yeah.
you asked what our onboarding process is. When you come on with us, we run our AI. We've now done 500 plus agentic AI deployments. We have this population of people that are like high automation scores, people that have not succeeded, and everything in between, right?
Yep.
So we're able to run the AI through your work order history, through your kind of like policies and documents, and it spits out a diagnostic of like how you rank against high automation scores across 8 different categories, where the gaps are, where you're doing well, where you don't have to, whatever, what the projected outcomes would be to address these different categories, and then like a whole bunch of insights around like how your operation runs that previously were just not available, right?
Yep.
So we start there. Our team of coaches, this team now then jumps in and like right sizes your processes for you before you hit the go button so that you don't automate chaos, right? They do that. It's like a done for you process as part of our onboarding. And then they're coaching you on for the first 90 days. You're meeting with them every other week, like twice a week to once a week to every other week until, you know, like the first 30 days is really about like learning your employee. The
Right.
next 30 days is like what you delegate to your new employee. The next 30 days is about optimization. And throughout that, they're normalizing the edge cases all across. We normalize about 14,000 edge cases a month. And
That's
that is
what it's all about. It's
yeah.
I almost think about it like, and you tell me if this is wrong because
Yeah.
you're the one thinking about this every day. But it's almost like you're hiring an AI employee.
Yep.
Right. And you're integrating that AI employee into the rest of your team like you would any employee.
Like any
and it's
employee.
like an onboarding experience. And,
Mhm.
and there's this sort of calibration that happens,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
you're sort of, where do you fit in? What happens if this happens?
Yeah.
Who does what if that,
Mhm.
so it's not a whole lot different than hiring an employee if
It's not.
that's the way you approach it.
It's not. It's one-to-one your first time ever hiring a VA,
Yeah.
right? It's
In a
one-to-one
lot of
like
ways easier too,
oh,
though.
well,
Like,
I just mean the way to succeed when you first started hiring
yep,
VAs, you're like, okay, I've hired employees before, but this employee is a little bit different.
right,
So ideally, I'm working with someone that's going to help me find a great VA. They're going to help me train and they're going to like help my team understand how to integrate the VA because it's not going to be the same onboarding process.
right.
And they're going to coach the VA on their own and coach my team on their own while we integrate this until my VA is fully a part of
Yeah.
my company, like saying my core values to their friends.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's incredible. Well, you said KPIs earlier, and it just popped.
Yeah.
We got to. I think let's transition a little bit into the data. Obviously, you're aware. PropertyManagement.com. We launched our vendor performance index.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that aren't haven't seen it or checked out the industry reports, really what started that was we were looking to say, all right, we want to surface the best property management companies,
Mhm.
and so naturally we went down that rabbit hole and we said, okay, if I wanted to find the best property management company, the best way to predict that is like, you know, who would if you're aware of all the property management companies, it's like, who would you tell your friend or family member to go work with, right? And usually that's like they have experience with it. So we just started having the property managers send out a survey and it's like overall satisfaction, maintenance communication, leasing
Mhm.
experience, reporting, right?
Mhm.
And then the aha moment we had was, well, wait a second, if we have all of the information on the property management company in terms of what tech stack, vendors, tools they work with, we can also see the outcomes. You can start to tie
Yep.
the tool and the software to what drives the happiest clients and best outcomes, right? It's
Yep.
less about features, more about actual results. And so all this, your responses, first of all, I think we should say 7 responses. Some other companies had more, but all 7 of those came from our propertymanagement.com. This wasn't like,
not
hey,
us
Vendoroo,
incentivizing it.
send this out. And
Yeah.
I was pretty blown away with some of the numbers. NPS of 85.7, but between those 7 respondents.
Mhm.
Your performance, a 90.0.
Mhm.
So you're talking about like AI agentics, it's like the performance was extremely strong. And then support. So 20% higher support than the industry average in the entire
This is what we are
space,
betting
right?
our company on. It's more support.
Yeah. And then the final
Yeah.
positive, and I'll have one sort of like put you on the spot.
Yeah.
16% higher NPS versus the industry average. So that's all good. Any
Mhm.
thoughts on the good? And then I'll kind of tie that into maybe
Yeah.
an area of weakness.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. Like to me, the number one thing that I care about is people saying that the support is unreal, right? Like that is truly what we believe is needed in order to drive real transformation in this agentic space. Like you can like dip your toe in it and go little by little on your own or whatever with less support. If you're going to really transform your organization, the more support, the better. So that is our big bet. And I'll be honest with you, man, like as somebody that gets to spend a lot of time with my clients, it is always like I can't tell you what it feels like to have a client of ours describe to me what the thing is doing for them. From a that sounds like freaking magic standpoint, and from a like, man, I got my wife back. Like she is now, we have dinner together now.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
really like transformational outcomes of like I just found my perfect COO to run maintenance, and now I don't have to worry about that and how my life has changed. We've got an average of 30% growth in our client base because of these kinds of like being allowed, but the human element of like we have brought quality of life to people that before didn't have quality of life. That to me is stuff I hear all the time, and it's unbelievable. So I'm not surprised by it.
yeah, and I think there's sort of a kind of it's counterintuitive to think. I think this is changing a bit, but I will say it's like when you think about, all right, we're going to roll out this agentic solution. It's almost like people have this preconceived notion that customer support will be what gets dinged, right? It's like, oh, we're going to implement this AI, so like customer support's out the window. And I think what I'm seeing in the data is that you can have high performance with an agentic automation based workflow and also provide really good customer support. Like to me, that's like the magic mix. And so I think that the one area though that jumps out to me, or I want to touch on a bit, is the credibility was the lowest score. What can you speak to about Vendoroo and sort of its positioning just in terms of credibility? Because like everything else, sort of off the charts, but it's like credibility just like.
Is credibility because only 7 people answered it? Is that the basis?
It could be, but then it's like it kind of cuts both. We do definitely need more responses to really have a truly statistically significant base there. But
what else could be driving low credibility score?
I think it could be the AI sort of perception. I don't know. You tell me.
I would say number one, I would just own the fact that I have not like gone out and told everybody to give us reviews. Like I've just been like buried with it. And it's one of these initiatives that I've just had on the back burner. So I expect that to change the moment that I put some attention into that and we operationalize that with our account managements. Like, right. Like we're meeting with people weekly because we're doing these calls and like just giving it to them. I'm sure that that's going to change pretty quickly. Man, I would say that the credibility piece, Matt, is the reason why I'm really grateful that you guys exist. Right. Like I think as a property manager, your ability to have like one random person put a Google review out there because they had one bad experience and it can like shoot down your credibility because it's just like this one place that's really, really visible. That's very real to vendors in the property management industry. There's the NARPM watering hole. There is people with pre-existing relationships that have been in the NARPM watering hole that have an outsized amount of influence. And if like something happens where like that inner circle of like the cool club doesn't like decide something, then that credibility is greatly impacted more than a Google review, right? So like I don't know if that's a piece of it, but like I think you guys' ability to be like a third party verifier on performance and stats and stuff like that is an absolute godsend to those that aren't already like established within that cool club.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying it like that because I think my personal experience, right? So I sort of balance my history as investor, property manager. What we're trying to do is sort of be the voice of the property manager, right? Yeah. And so, I think the cool kid club is a concept that should be talked about, right? If you're in this group and everybody says to work with this company and that company, that's not data driven. That's sort of like if you're like been in high school and you've experienced that, like that you're
it's
like, hey, I'm cool. Contest. Why am I not? Like
Yeah.
And so I think that's an interesting perspective. So next year we'll see kind of as we get more data. I think who knows where the world will be in terms of how the AI technology side will progress, and I think that the results, performance, customer support, satisfied customers matters much more.
Listen, man, so first of all, I say that not to say that I feel like I'm not in the cool club or whatever, right? Yeah. Like I say that to validate the value of what y'all are doing for property managers and for vendors as well, right?
Yeah, it makes that not matter. Right?
It just makes it not matter, right? Yeah. Like, and if you want to, and if I don't know, man, like I don't see a whole bunch of ads. Like we have our clients being like super evangelists for us all over our ads. Like you've seen like 20 or 30 of them. Like they get recognized at Broker Owner. Like, cool, man. Like tell me people that are having transformational results with AI and go talk to them. All I'm trying to do, the ad campaign that we run was literally just like our clients that are coming here talking about how they see their businesses happening, us promoting them to like, hey, go have a conversation with Tim Richards or Jim Shantz or Wendy Wright about like the things that they care about. And if you want to ask them about Vendoroo, ask them about Vendoroo and how that fits in. My whole thing, my company, my marketing company is called Be the Stage. Like I'd rather you find out about other people about how great we are than me, because it goes a long way. Like there's at the core of community creation for business development is the idea that the most powerful way to convince someone of anything is to have somebody else tell them how great you are without you in the room. And I
Yep.
very much believe in that, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that is the greatest kind of like indicator of what's real and what isn't.
That's great.
So yeah.
Well, before we get into the lightning round, one
Yeah.
question I've got before we transition, maybe outside of maintenance, it could be maintenance related. I mean, it's got to be all you're thinking about because it's a big challenge, right?
Mhm.
But just in general with the industry, what when you wake up, what has you the most excited right now?
In property management, in Vendoroo, in like myself personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a crazy time to generally be alive with
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
personal,
But
everything
I'll
just seems
tell
to
you.
be changing, right? So it's like
Yeah.
what you wake up and you're like, what has you just really excited about the future?
That, right? Like the rate of change. Like I think that we are all, back to the cool club analogy, we're all in the first week of freshman year of college where everybody's on the same boat because the world is changing.
Yeah.
I am a big believer in the amount of value and wealth and like life altering things that happen during context changes. I know that my buddies that learned to code in the 90s have had a like an unbelievable career forever.
Yeah.
I know cousin who figured out Google PPC in 2008 built a career around that.
Yeah, Gary V content.
I know
like,
that
yeah.
somebody who started publishing content in 2012 has had an easier content trajectory than I have, right? Like it's these moments where the world shifts and people take advantage of that shift that it's when the upstart becomes the new incumbent. Like these are real David versus Goliath moments. That as an entrepreneur is super
Yeah,
exciting.
I'm getting a little goosebumpy. That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's an exciting time.
The law of category creation, right? Like of creating a new way of doing things versus an old way is context change plus missing plus innovation equals new category.
Mm-hmm.
When the context changes, it either moves closer to something that's like there's something missing of something that could have never been solved before, or because the context changed, there's like a new hole here that needs to get filled, and that drives the need for innovation.
Yeah,
and
I noted that you're a category design guy. I'm a big believer in that concept as well.
It is category design. I'm somebody that has studied influence my whole life. All I care about is how I can make relationships with people. And because of that, I've just always like studied that. Category design to me is the greatest framework for influence that I have ever seen at an industrial scale. And it is the way that they're the type of businesses that you want to build. When you can establish your category and be known for the problem that you solve and be synonymous with the verb of the problem that you solve, then you build these really, really attractive businesses where you're not out there competing for price and getting undercut. You're giving people the best careers that they can possibly give you. It creates these great financial outcomes for everybody. I'm a big believer in category design.
Yeah, I mean, 20 years ago, if you would have described your business to someone in the industry, they'd be like, "You're a Looney Tune, dude. That's not going to be how that can't be possible." I mean, so talk about a new category, and there'll be a lot more categories sort of shift and develop
because new categories create other categories. That's
exactly
one of the laws of category.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%. So I think there's going to be many different ways of doing property management today that are going to be much more fun than the one or two ways that have been of the past.
Yeah. We're going to have more conversations. I always love, you've got the Dr. Roo vibes going. We maybe do some karaoke later, but yeah, we'll have to have more conversations. I feel like the way you think about the industry is, it's sharp. And I think people need more of it. So
I appreciate it. Hey, game, respect, game, man. I would love to go deep on like how you're thinking about the industry as well. And I want you to come on our podcast.
Well, yeah.
And if we want to talk for an hour on category design, that's my definition.
I'll be honest. Usually Dylan's like co-host, and I get to just kind of have all the takes, and he has, so a different role for me with this. But I appreciate you saying that. We'll have some more conversation. Well, let's transition lightning round. So I'm bad at the lightning round. The lightning round is supposed to be so rapid fire. I try to add context, but we'll try to go through it quickly here. Cool. So
no judgments. Yeah, it's a safe space.
Safe space. Yeah. Although it's like we've got the van and the garage. Hey, come in my van. Anyway, it's safe here. Well, it is safe. I'll tell you a story about Ray Hessman after this. He was in here, and we had the carbon monoxide detector went off. It was a whole thing. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, but we're all good now. That's why you're in the hot seat because the AC is not running.
It's definitely hot.
Yeah. So anyway, favorite tool or app not work related.
Favorite tool or app not work related.
It can be work adjacent, but it's
Oh man, I would say my little fanny pack that has my like lavalier mics and my like setup thing. Like I love the content lifestyle, man. Like I really give a shit about building relationships.
Yeah.
And I have found that like content co-creation is this like lubrication of adding value to people right in the door. So the ability to just like make content at whatever scale, super easy. Let's do it is my favorite thing to do. So just like having a fanny pack with the lavalier mics, the little tripod stand, and the selfie stick thing that if you and I get in a conversation, and be like, oh, let me mic you up and like let's make an experience out of this.
That's so cool.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I want to do a little bit more of that. You always have those conversations like, man, I wish we would have recorded that. It happens a lot. Yeah, and it matters more now than ever.
I'm doing that right now with my dad and his life, man. Like,
oh,
it's
really?
A lot of fun. Yeah.
I want to, man, you should brought
that
up earlier. I want to hear more about that.
Okay.
But I'm bad at the lightning round, so I got to keep rolling. Book or podcast that you think a operator in our space would find value in?
The Founders Podcast. Do you listen to that?
I've listened to that a bit. I'm not like a weekly listener, but I've checked it out a few times when I'm driving. Yeah,
David Senra has spent the last like 5 years reading the biographies of the most accomplished people in history. You know, from Rockefeller to Mark Twain to Benjamin Franklin to Jesus to Elon Musk to Michael Jordan.
Yep.
And like all he does is read the most to Estee Lauder, right? Like all he does is read the most accomplished people's in history's biographies and draw parallels of like what has worked for the founder of In-N-Out, like it worked for Benjamin Franklin. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
And what you learn as an entrepreneur is that one of the big lessons on that show is that your capacity to endure hardship is directly correlated with your ability to create incredible outcomes for yourself and for others.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think as entrepreneurs and as property managers where we're dealing with stuff all the time is a really, really great reminder.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'll have to get that. I'll have to check that out more. I feel like I think I've listened to 2 or 3 episodes. So this one gets a little more serious, I guess, but it's, I guess, more philosophical. So what is one word that you'd use to describe the future of the maintenance category in property management? One word.
I would just say displacement.
Displacement. That's really, you don't have to elaborate, but you can.
I'm happy to elaborate. Right now, I think that the maintenance role spends 80% of their time on defined tasks and 20% of their time on undefined tasks, roughly. Right. Defined tasks are not gonna be necessary for a human to do. So the key to this is, like I said, you can automate towards humans or away from humans. The question that you asked earlier, understanding how like when the need for this stuff to be done displaces the people that you are doing it, understanding what that person's superpower is and what your needs are, and matching like where do we put these people into places where they create maximum value and derive the most meaning for themselves and give them great careers. That is displacement, right? So whether it's a maintenance person now really just becoming a maintenance manager as opposed to just like a doer and follow upper and a I hate my life like to-do list task monkey, right?
Yep.
Like, or does this person now become like this Jedi at keeping a solid vendor network? Or does this person now become this like concierge owner kind of like phone call and like, oh man, you got a problem at your home? Call me up. I know how to triage stuff. You know, like how do you displace people into where they have the most value?
You're not hiring someone just to go, I need to run this process. You're enhancing them to be able to go do, you know, something, you know, like a Jedi should be in the like description for these, you know. So very cool.
You're liberating them, man, from these like shackles of never ending to-do list that just keeps getting longer because everything just takes longer and longer, and putting them into like, where do I derive meaning from work that I give extreme value to others in a way that is like irreplaceable, man. I think it's going to be a wonderful thing.
How can people get in touch with you or Vendoroo? What's the best way to get in touch?
Best way to get in touch with me, I would say shoot me a text, man. 305-992-3130.
The first mobile number from, you know, executive that I've had on these podcasts. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it. 305-992-3130. Shoot me a text or give me a call or shoot me a voice note or whatever. If you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, cool. If you want to email me, cool. But like, if you text me, I'm going to get right back to you.
Hell yeah.
More than anything else. I would love it if you follow our podcast or read our newsletter. That's awesome. But like, man, I really believe, like, I think that what you guys are doing is really, really important. I would say if you really want to like make friends with me, if you reach out to me saying I left this podcast a review and I'm like recommending propertymanagement.com to people, that is a way in the door for me, man. Like you show me that you are somebody that wants to like provide value for others, and I want to be your friend.
That's awesome. This has been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Pablo, really appreciate your time. Hope you have a good time the rest of Broker Owner.
You too,
And
man.
this won't be the last time we talk, man.
I'm looking forward to this relationship, man. I'm really impressed with what you guys are doing. I really, really mean it. That I think, like, as category designers, you guys have found a problem that somebody else. You found a non-obvious problem that as soon as you make it obvious, it's impossible to ignore, man. And to me, that is like the entrepreneurial like thing that I really am attracted to. I'm cheering for you guys.
Thank you.
And I want to like add to the success of your journey, man. And I really want to be your friend. So thank you for having me.
I'm ready to run through a brick wall. Pablo, this has been awesome.
Let's go.
Love it.
All right. High five.
Let's go.